Books on the Brain.
Welcome back to Books on the Brain, a podcast of books and nonsense. My name is Danielle.
And I am Deirdre.
And dude, welcome to the season premiere. Exactly. Exactly. Holy smokes. We're back for what, season 4? 5. Cinco.
I have counted so many times because I was sure I miscounted. No, it's season 5.
Holy guacamole. Our
Can you
our
believe
our
it?
podcast can go to kindergarten. Oh.
Oh, out of toddlers. Out
Toddler.
of toddlers.
In theory, the podcast should be potty trained, but we know often they are not yet. They will come and they will have accidents. How the heck you been, brother?
Oh my God. I mean, we're gonna talk about it in the episode. Like,
We are.
it hasn't been that long for you and me,
Yes.
because as our listeners are going to find out, we have um recorded a couple of episodes for this season before this one.
Yes.
So this actually feels really quite natural, but also funny because this episode is getting recorded very out of order, so
Yes.
that it's a little bit closer to release date than the other ones. Um, and that is by design, but I'm like, you know how I am,
Yes.
but the listeners don't.
That's very true. We know what's been going on in each other's lives. But dear reader, dear listener, we've been away for a bit and we're really, really excited. Today's episode is looking we're just gonna gab. We're gonna yap like two little friends are yapping, catching you up. Our friends on what's been going on in the past, I guess, like year-ish. Hey,
I know, because season 4, I wrote it down in the notes. We're not going to talk about season 4.
that's none of our business.
Season
Who are
4
those people?
was incomplete, and that's okay. We're moving on. We don't need to complete it.
The rest is still unwritten, as Natasha Bedingfield would say.
Yeah, she would. She'd even sing it,
And she would. And that's all we can say.
and that's all.
We have
Before
to sign an
we
NDA, and that's all we can say. Sorry.
before we get into the episode, let's
Yes.
go over some housekeeping, shall we?
Yes. T.
Okay. I thought about bringing my glasses in to do this part because I'm going to need my notes up close and personal for all of this. But I didn't feel like getting up, to be honest.
That's
Uh,
okay.
so don't mind me referencing my notes for this. So, what is this season going to look like? That's what we're going to cover
Tell
in our
me.
housekeeping session. If you skip through this part to get to the meat and potatoes of the episode, it's okay, but you might miss out on some crucial information regarding the episode.
Yes. And the
Get it?
season and the goings-ons.
And the goings-ons. So, up first, we are fully committed to YouTube this season. We're back on YouTube.
Ba-da-ba.
Everybody, we took a little bit of a break because we were trying to sort out how much video editing we really wanted to do. It is a two-person team over here, but we are on YouTube. So you can watch the podcast on YouTube. You can also watch the podcast on Spotify. And we are on all other podcast platforms for your listening purposes.
We.
So that is where you can find us. When are we uploading? We are keeping our regular upload day, so we will be
Yes.
uploading on Wednesdays, and we are uploading through the entire summer. So unlike previous seasons, which have taken place like January to September time,
Yeah.
this is going to run June through August.
Yeah.
And just sort of depending on how things roll, there might be a little dribble into September, but as of right now, we're wrapping up the end of August. That's looking like the end of the season.
Heck yeah.
We I'm gonna start this over.
Sure.
Sorry, you're gonna have to do a little editing.
It's okay.
Um, We have some really, really exciting topics coming up. We're doing topic-based episodes. We are bringing back guest episodes. We have some returning guests on this season, as well as some new to the podcast guests, and we are so excited for those.
Yes.
Um, so to give you a little bit of an idea of what the next month is going to hold, we have some of our we have a couple guests coming up. One of them is a friend of the pod. Friend of the pod, new book coming out in June.
Obsessed.
We
Beautiful.
love.
Gorgeous.
And their episode is coming out very soon.
Like, check your
Wink, wink.
calendars. It's next week.
Wink, wink. We also are bringing back our Pride party with some friends. So we are so excited for that. So June is jam-packed. You are not going to want to miss it. And
No.
hopefully book you for the rest of the season.
Very true. Very true.
And just a little friendly reminder, because I feel like we don't actually talk about it all that often. This podcast is just the two of us. Just the two of us. We can make it. I feel like I had 3 songs with that line in it whiz through my head at the same time.
That one came to mind.
That's the one that came out.
Or
So,
the one from Into the Woods. What's it? It takes two.
yes.
Obviously.
So
It's
it
true.
is just the two of us,
It's
and we do it all. Producing, concept creation, editing, hosting, social media management,
Yeah.
email management. If you've got an email from us from the pod, it's been one of us that has sent it.
It's been Deirdre. Deirdre answers.
I'm a church of the emails.
I'm the pretty face. Deirdre answers. And Deirdre's the pretty face who answers the emails.
So if you want to support us, because we are a non-monetized podcast, this is our little passion project that we have been doing for the last 5 years. Whoa.
Crazy.
Please interact. You can give us a rating on Apple Podcasts. That is really helpful. You can give us a rating on Spotify, leave a review, comment, hit that like button if you're on YouTube. Any kind of interaction really helps us out. And yeah, just kind of lets us know that we're not just screaming into the void with just the two of us.
Literally, though, because sometimes I feel like we sell ourselves short of how much it takes to do this shindig.
Yeah.
And I think if anything, the past year told us that it's a big undertaking to do, and it is a passion project we both do love so much.
Yeah.
And we love to continue to do it. It's just holy guacamole when stuff starts to hit the fan. It's a tough thing to do. These girlies who
is.
have these Spotify exclusives who are like in studios doing all this stuff, and I'm like, that's the version of podcasting that is easy. The version of
Yes.
podcasting that is not so easy is when you are two little guys
The
doing
team.
it all. Yeah, two little guys doing it all with
Two little guys doing it all.
that's
And with that, housekeeping is closed.
see you're closed. Ready? Closed. Ah,
If you're watching the YouTube video, you would see that Danielle's cats have been in and out of this episode.
just Walnut. She's nosy.
Mm.
Almond sitting behind the laptop per usual.
Aw.
Per usual. Okay, we are breaking this episode down into 3 freaking parts. And this was the hardest thing for us to plan about this episode by far.
It literally took us a week
Yeah,
to name this.
literally
Just this segment.
I had to be like, give me time away. I need to think about this. We both were like I messaged Georgia the other day and I was like, I'm driving to work being like, okay, what could
We're really thinking about this.
What could it be? What could it be?
And we're not using AI.
Yeah, who the
I would like to state for the record that none of this was through the use of AI. It was our brains and a thesaurus.
Me sitting and trying to do rhyming words.
Oh, I immediately go to my thesaurus. The
Good for you,
thesaurus
girl.
is my best friend.
Good for you. I was like, what words do I know that start with G? And then I ran out pretty quick.
Yeah.
But speaking of words that start with G, we are breaking this episode down into three parts. Our glows, which are
Wrong order. We're starting with grows.
starting with our grow. Thank you. The grows are things that have had a positive impact, but something you grew through, right? It wasn't like amazing, something you learned a lesson from, mayhaps. And then I want you to say this one.
Yeah, so we've got the grows and then we've got the god awfuls.
You say the line.
Oh.
Say the line.
So this maybe it wasn't so good.
I saw this on the Trello card,
Can you
and I was
tell
like,
I wrote that after I'd been at work for 9 hours? And it's like, this is hilarious.
put it in. But I saw that and I was like, there's no way in hell I'm not having Deirdre say that. I've never heard you say something like that. That is so funny. Oh, so funny.
So yeah, so the god awfuls, this maybe wasn't no good.
It was a so good for us. Nothing.
So this is the we're glad we're past it. We'll talk about it, but we're glad we're past it.
Yes, and then the glows, the best of the best. We love in so the good, the bad, the ugly of it all. But in a trendier, more relevant, aesthetically pleasing list. And then Deirdre has some questions at the end. I would love to know any of your answers to any of this.
Always.
Our listeners are like our fam and our friends. I'd love to hear what's been going on in your lives. So feel free to drop a comment or shoot us a DM, just letting us know anything crazy cool has happened to you over the past year.
I will say we used to say you could send us a voicemail, but since Anchor doesn't exist anymore, I don't think you can send us voicemails anymore. And I do miss that feature because we did get a handful of
We did.
voicemails, and those were so much fun.
They were, and I guess you could send us like a DM, like a
Yeah, you
voice.
could DM us a voice note. You could DM us
Yeah,
a voice note. I
that
love a
is
voice
our
note.
preferred communication ways.
That's how Danielle and I communicate to each other is via voice note.
But it has to be 15 minutes or longer.
Minimum. Every voice note I sent to Danielle is minimum 8 minutes long.
Oh, same. Like if I see it get to double digits, sometimes I have to stop and restart because I'm like, there, I shouldn't. I shouldn't
I
get
love it. Like the other day when you sent me the one that was 10 minutes, I
yeah.
sat in my car on my lunch break
Yeah.
and I was putting on my podcast and I listened and I ate my lunch and I
Yes.
was like, yes, I'll tell Danielle this.
I know. I was cutting out lamination this morning and I was listening to your message from your lunch break and I was like, one of my staff members walked in before I could finish and I was like, so I had to come back in my car for the last 4 minutes and I was like, good, I'm done. I finished it finally. Finally. All right. Let's do
So,
this
the
shindig.
grows.
The
Would
gross.
you like to start with a grow?
Um, yes. Okay. Actually, no, I want you to start because I need to yell at my cat.
Okay. So my first grow of the year, it was a big year for theater. I closed 3 Broadway shows. I opened 2 Broadway shows. I worked on Harmony, excuse me. I worked on Harmony, Patriots, and The Hills of California, and I got to dabble a little bit in principal dressing, which was a lot of fun. Um,
Woo.
and yeah, it was enough work that I got to take like a whole summer vacation. And that was nice, like to take a
Yeah.
good like 2 months off and just like live life. And
Yes.
um that was a lot of fun. So yeah, yeah, that's that's that.
Did you see my pajama pants?
No.
Oh, not that I'm not wearing completely professional attire from the bottom down, but
I have a fuzzy blanket with penguins on it in my lap.
it's on my Kate Spade
I
costume.
bought this when I worked
Jammers.
for cruise line.
Cute.
It's a Christmas penguin blanket. They're so adorable. Um, because, because I washed my makeup brushes earlier and I got my sweatpants soaking wet. So I'm wearing sleep shorts and it's freezing here that we've
Oh,
decided we're back in winter. Um,
no.
so I have this blanket in my lap
I love
keeping me
that.
warm. And that's why I keep readjusting the sweater because I don't want to have the sweater on.
Yes.
I just want it around my shoulders, but it needs to be on, otherwise I'm too cold.
Chilly, chilly guy.
Anyway.
Um, one of my grows was moving, the process of moving. I
Mm.
moved. I'm not in Lethbridge anymore. Um, at the end of the summer of 2024, uh, I packed up my one little bedroom apartment with my two cats and I moved back home to Calgary. So I'm back, Calgary, Alberta, home of the Calgary Stampede, greatest outdoor show on earth. Um, I'm very, very happy to be home. I moved back home, Calgary, Alberta, from Lethbridge, which was a planned choice. I think when I started university in 2019, I always knew I wanted to come back to Calgary. Lethbridge was beautiful for a rhyme, a reason, a season, whatever. I had a beautiful time there. But I needed to, this fledgling needed to fly from the nest and move back home. Um, I'm very thankful I did go down there because I got an amazing education. I got so many cool opportunities. But I'm very happy to be back home in Calgary. I get to see my family. I get to like establish myself in the city that I love, doing cool things. So, uh, yeah, I'm just excited to be back. But the process of moving sucks, but especially when you're moving across province. Um, no, I was moving in the same province, but it was like 2.5 hours away, and like I had to move all my books. I This is maybe another grow. I had to purge a lot of my books. I know it doesn't look like
Yeah.
it, but I got rid of like 10 bags of books I brought to like little free libraries around the city. And I still have so many. I still have like a pile of books. I need to get a third bookshelf.
Yeah.
Um, that was something crazy, but good for me because I've carted some of these books to Toronto and then back home to Calgary, then to Lethbridge, then back home to Calgary. And I hadn't read some of them. And I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. You've
Yeah.
traveled more than I have. If I haven't read you, someone else needs to have you, not I. But yeah, moving one of the, one of the, no, that's my second grow.
Okay.
I was bleeding into my second grow.
Oh, all right.
Sorry.
Um,
It was such a flawless transition.
so good. My second one is that one of my very good friends got married and I was a bridesmaid in her wedding. I don't really know what positive impact this had on me because let me tell you, I'm a fabulous bridesmaid. Um, she
Yes.
Her and her husband told my roommate at my birthday party that if I hadn't been there, their wedding would have been ruined. And I asked them about it after because I wasn't there when they had this
Yeah, you're like,
conversation.
hello?
My roommate Alexa told me, and I was like, "You guys, what are you talking
Yeah.
about?" And they were like, "You literally saved the day so many times." And I was like, "Okay."
Okay, sure. Tell me about it.
So yeah, I think it's just a positive thing that happened in a year of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Um, and I love my friends. I love celebrating my friends. I've been in my wedding era as a guest for quite a while. Like so many people in my life have been getting married over the last couple of years, and
Yeah.
I love going to weddings. I've
So
always
good.
loved going to weddings. I have been looking forward to this part of my life for a very long time,
Yes.
and I'm happy to be in it. I have two weddings coming up this summer, so
So fun.
yeah.
So freaking fun. Um, okay. My second grow is um the process of starting over. Uh,
Mhm.
moving home, I had to start over um with a lot of things, right? Like my personal life, my professional life, having to, because being out of the city for 5 years and being back as a university student puts you in a different mindset of like, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is my trajectory, my goal. Once I met that goal, it's like, okay, what do I actually want to do? What things do I think are important? A lot of things became like routine of like, oh yeah, I'm always gonna have. I worked at a theater company, one of the only professional theater companies in Lethbridge, as their like musical theater educator, and I did that for 4 years. And I always knew I had a job and I had all these things. So then choosing to move away and leave these things, I had to be like,
Mhm.
okay, what do I want to do? Not just because it's either become routine or because it's something that like is a necessity of like, okay, you're a university student, you have to do this.
Right.
um so that's been kind of, it's been good and bad, right? Like I've left so many of my friends. I'm like, which sucks. And I have friends still in Toronto who I left 10 years ago, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I keep having to form friendships of like, okay, that's why I think Deirdre and I work really well, is because we're never in the same place. So we will
Yeah.
always be
Yeah. Our virtual friendship works really well for
friends.
us.
It does work really well for
One day we'll meet in person and it'll be amazing, but
one of these days.
all
It's
we
gonna
have is Zoom
it's
and
gonna
our
be one of
voices.
our weddings, is what I'm convinced.
I know.
So one of us has got to get on.
Okay.
You convinced me. Now that you said it.
Uh,
Um,
sure.
but also like how exciting it is to get to start over. Getting to be a first year teacher um in a new city, and getting to like choose the jobs I want to do, and get to like pivot out myself a little path of like, this is the kind of education I'm interested in, has been really really cool and really really nice. So I've enjoyed that actually quite a bit. um this like reinventing, like, who's the new hot girl in town? Oh, it's me. Here to substitute for your classroom.
Yeah.
um but that's definitely like a bittersweet thing.
Yeah. And we're like staggering that because I'm starting that
Yeah,
process now
yeah,
of starting over
yeah,
and which we'll probably get into later.
yes,
Um, but it's a lot. It's so much to take on mentally, emotionally, the
it is.
reality of it. Like,
It's like the excitement, but also like a grieving thing
hmm
where you're like, oh, I'm never gonna be, mind you, it's also like, I think part of me is also like, I can let it go, because it was also like, that was my COVID era.
yeah.
Like Lethbridge was I was in COVID for all of Lethbridge. My Lethbridge education was fully
Yeah.
impacted, surrounded by COVID,
Yeah.
and the shutdowns. So I think it's been nice to be like, I know COVID's not gone. It's still there. I'm very, very aware, but
Very.
I'm I can cocoon and transcend.
Yes. Yes.
You know?
Yeah, I do. I do know.
Okay, I have one more grow. How
I
many
have two. So I'll say this first one quick and then I'll say my last one.
Okay,
Um,
perfect.
so I am still holding on to my New York City apartment. I am very, very happy to still be in New York, even though that's not where I am currently. I actually don't think I've ever recorded a podcast episode in this area of my parents' house.
Nope, you've never.
Cool. I'm on a porch. I know it might look kind of crazy. I actually don't really know what it looks like to
You look
people who
fabulous. You
don't.
you look like you're on like a like a talk show.
Cool.
Yes.
Great. I love that. Um, so how many years have I been at my apartment? Since 2021, we moved in July,
Yeah.
and I love it. I still love being in the city. I love my apartment, and we just re-signed our lease. I feel like I'm holding on with my fingernails, but it feels very adult to be like I've stayed in the same apartment for the past several years, and I am very happy to still be there. And then my last one is that I really got back into playing Irish music last year.
Yes, you
And I'm going to talk about this more in my glows, but I felt like it deserved a place in both because
did.
I was doing it recreationally, but also like a little bit more than that, which has been really fulfilling.
Heck yes.
Yeah.
My last grow um was at kind of like the tail, I guess, when kind of season 4 was happening, I guess. I was in my final practicum placement. So for
Mm.
those of you who don't know, um, well, first of all, for those of you who don't know, I'm now accredited teacher in the province of Alberta. Thank you, thank you. But as part of the education faculty, you do things called practicums, which are kind of like work placements in every other uh, every other kind of university vibe. But because you're a teacher, you need to go into schools and actually teach, learn how to teach, and then teach how to teach. So my final practicum placement is my last grow because I learned so much from that placement, kind of good and bad. I learned so much. I was placed in a high school, which is a far cry from what I originally thought I was interested in doing. I'm a very elementary guy. I like to have fun. And you can have fun with high school kids, obviously. But with big kids come big problems. I like little problems. I like little people, little problems. But what I didn't realize was in this practicum placement, I had such a beautiful opportunity. I taught drama 10, and then I taught musical theater 15, 25, 35 for a whole semester. So 4 months I was in this high school every day doing my little like I'm a teacher tee hee hee, and then also having prep time, which is like when you actually become a teacher you never actually get. So I think I very much took that for granted. I'm like, now as a teacher who does not get her prep, I'm like, I would just sit and stare at a wall, and I'm like, girl, you should use your time wisely. um but my musical theater class specific, well, both of my classes, drama has this beautiful intersection with many different communities of kids, many different demographics of kids, and I got to work with some really amazing kids from a complex needs classroom that was in the high school who didn't get to do any mainstream classes except for drama or yoga or musical theater. It was like the things that the school deemed that they would be able to do, they were allowed into the classes. So I made it very clear my first week there that I was like, bring them all. Anybody who's interested in being in the class, regardless of ability, I want them in the room. I want them to be doing my thing. So I had 10 amazing complex needs students in my musical theater class, and also like 15 mainstream community kids. So in special ed, spec ed, which is what I primarily work, spoiler alert, in now, we call community classes kind of mainstream classes. All the rest of the community, we call community classes. So I had 15 community kids, and then I had 10 profoundly disabled children in my classroom. And we got to put on a little musical theater show, which was amazingly fulfilling. I know it taught me a lot as an artist of like, okay, what does making art actually mean to me? Is it process or product? And I know a lot of people are like, it's the process, it's the process. But it is the process. It is the process, and it has to be the process. And if you're a product based person, you're doing a lot of people around you a disservice because it is about the process. And I showed our product wasn't super shiny and gorgeous. It was pretty rough around the edges, but what it did have was every single one of those kids up on stage dancing, even kids who were in mobility aids like wheelchairs, kids who are blind using like walking aids. All of those kids were on stage without any adult intervention or support, which is amazing to have, to teach the other students how to have empathy and being like, hey, these are all your team. This is your team. How can we support your team? Um, I think especially for theater kids who sometimes get so wrapped up in the competitiveness of it, where you're like, you're not here to be the best, or you shouldn't be here to be the best.
Yeah.
Um, we're here to make something beautiful together. And I think that's a lesson I wish I had learned as a younger artist too, because I feel like I was in the competitive mindset of like, I need to be the person with the most lines in the biggest spotlight, most songs to sing, whatever, whatever. But now I feel like that practicum really shift my vision um, as an artist and as a teacher and an educator.
Right.
So that's okay. All right, what are we doing next, kid?
We are on to the god awfuls.
Oh my. Yes, I will start with my god awfuls, and I'll start
Okay.
with the worst one.
Okay.
Um, 2-ish years ago, um, my grandma passed away, and that was really tough. My nonna, R.I.P. I that was the first person in my life who like I actually like knew and loved who passed away, right? Like I'd been to funerals before, but they were always for like people my mom knew or like somebody's husband that I didn't really know.
Right.
Um but my nonna passing away was tough, and it's uh I didn't realize how much grief I still like I honestly didn't even want to talk about it. I was like I don't want to talk about it.
I know.
How much grief I still hold of her passing, and how much like some of it's my own, but some of it is also like seeing my mom grieve her mom. I might get emotional. Who knew? It's also like she passed away on the 20th of a month, so my mom always lights a candle on the 20th of every month.
Oh.
Um, so that's crazy. When I walk into her apartment, I see her candle lit, and I'm like, okay, damn, a little sad now.
I know.
Um, but yeah, I seeing my mom grieve and me grieving myself, that is it's so tough. Um, and then now anything that happens and I'm like, oh, you want to tell that person or you want to include them in life things and they're not there and you're like, okay, that sucks. I'm not having fun. Um, but that was yeah, I feel like there was a period of time where I was really numb to it. And now I'm like in the process of like feeling a lot of feels about it still. Um, but it's been 2 years and I'm like, hey, can we get back to the part where I could just be grateful that I had her for the time that I did? Because the being sad part sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Um, my my first one is also about death. Um,
Boom.
and Danielle and I both lost our grandmas right around the same time as each other. So which it's like a weird thing to be like, I'm grateful that that happened, but like
Yeah.
I mean it in a way that like I'm grateful that Danielle and I have had each other to lean on
Yeah.
emotionally because we've been going through almost the same exact thing for the same amount of time. And
Really?
I actually just was talking to my cousin because her grandma passed away. So like obviously it's not the one that we're
Yeah.
connected through. And she posted a thing on Instagram. It was specifically related to like really traumatic and like out of the blue passings and how like that grief is very specific.
Yeah.
And like she was saying, you know, I'm giving myself a lot of grace because I just didn't think it would take so long to heal from grief. And I sent her a little thing and I was like, it really took me almost 2 years to be able to talk about my grandma without crying.
Yeah. Well,
Like there was
still on
so
that journey.
yeah, it's taken me a really long time. And we were just talking back and forth and she was like, "Thank you so much for DMing me because you just feel so alone, even though it's like one of those oddly universal experiences."
Yeah, like the most universal experience
Yeah.
is losing someone you love because we all have people we love and we will lose them.
Yeah.
Newsflash.
Newsflash. So, yes, my
Sorry,
my
guys.
god awful um is that on top of the the deaths from the previous years. Back in the fall, my best friend's grandma passed away. And this is like, we've known each other since second grade. Her grandma was like my grandma. Like, I know she loved me so much. I loved her so much. And it was really like the end of the year was really, really difficult. Like, all I could do was go to work. That was it. I, I could not function.
It was literally for the two of us, it was like thing after thing. It was like, oh, by the way, this awful thing happened. Oh, by the way, this awful thing. Like it was crazy.
Yeah. And she passed away a month. Unfortunately, she passed away on my best friend's birthday, which was so
Devastating.
bad. And my best friend's birthday falls a month before mine. So leading up to my birthday, I'm thinking about the fact that this woman that passed away, she would call me every year on my birthday.
Yeah.
And it was the first year that both her and my grandma didn't call me. And I got so like I was just sad the whole day. Like people
Yeah.
kept asking me, they're like, how's your birthday? And I was like, all I can think about is these people that aren't here.
Yeah. You're like, don't talk to me.
And it was really, really hard. It was
Yes.
one of the toughest birthdays for sure, um, in that respect. And yeah, the grief is so weird.
Because it's not a linear thing either. It's like there's some days that I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. I'm totally fine. Poo poo. And
Yeah.
then it's like, oh no. Um,
Yeah. I don't know if I've told this story on the pod. I actually don't know if I told you this story. The trip I took to Disney World was probably like 9 months after my grandma had passed away.
yeah.
I was with my friends from home and we were in the Mexico pavilion in Epcot. We were like inside the temple drinking our margaritas.
Yum.
And we're just like standing, there's like this fountain inside. And we were finishing our drinks so we could go on the Three Caballeros boat ride.
Yes.
And we're just standing there chatting, like looking around because inside the Mexico Pavilion is so beautiful. And I turned my head and there was this woman standing like 3 feet away from us looking. They have like all these little stalls with tchotchkes and memorabilia stuff.
Yeah.
And she was turned away from us. She looked just like my grandma. She was wearing an outfit my grandma would wear, like had her bag, and the it was like that instant picture of her, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's so freaky." And then
Yeah.
she kind of turned to the side and she had like a little brace on, and my grandma never had any like physical injuries in the time that I knew her. And it was like that was the thing I kept trying to latch onto, but she just kept standing there. And I was like, I got so overcome.
Yeah.
I just started weeping. Like I totally lost it. And my friends were amazing. Like they just sort of like talked me through it. Like, what are you feeling? Why
Yeah.
do you think you're feeling that way? Like trying to, you know,
Open a
help me
dialogue. Yeah.
move through. And then all of a sudden, this woman was just like gone. And that was even freakier. I was like,
Ghost.
I feel so spooked
Yes.
right now. And it
The Ghost of the Three
every
Amigos ride.
yeah, no, we literally like finished our margaritas and I was like, I need to go. I need to go laugh and like sing the
Yeah.
Three Caballeros and look at Donald Duck be silly. Um, and also get me another margarita.
Another Berg.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I like broke down in the middle of Disney World and just started crying, sobbing.
Been there. Actually, I haven't been to Disney World, but been in that emotional state. Yes.
Yeah.
Been in that emotional state. And it's yeah, it's those surprising moments where you're like talking about something and you're like, oh, I have to use past tense. And you're like, oh my
Yeah.
whatever. Like I'm like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't
I know.
cry. I'm in like a job interview and I'm like, oh, don't cry.
Yeah.
Because it's any place where you're feeling vulnerable. Maybe you were feeling vulnerable in the Mexico Pavilion at.
Probably.
Like, I'm so excited for the three
Caballeros.
caballeros. Like I was gonna say Chiquitos feels like Chiquitas, which feels like amigas. Cheetahs,
Yes.
friends
Friends
for
for
life.
life. Are you getting Tim and Sydney's videos? This woman on TikTok is making her husband watch all the Disney Channel originals.
No,
Oh my God, I have to send them to you.
send them to
He
me.
made his way through High School Musical, which was hilarious. And then they watched, what did they watch after High School Musical? Because they took a little break. Oh, they
Yeah.
watched Camp Rock one
Classic.
and two. And then they just watched Cheetah Girls one and two. And then now he's watching Lemonade Mouth. So good.
That is really fun.
So
Please
I've had all the DComs top of mind recently.
send. Amazing. Just you wait.
So my second god awful is not as serious as my
Yeah.
first one. It's more like existential. Because I'm so curious about how people think about their birthdays because mine falls at the end of the year. So
Yeah.
I get to spend the entire like New Year's to the end of the year thinking about my birthday, which I like. I like structuring my year that way. And
Yeah.
again, it probably is because I've only ever known that.
Sure, 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 sure,
But
sure.
it kind of works out for me that I get like my birthday is a new beginning, and then I get like a couple weeks, and then it's a new year, and it really feels like this whole like resurgence. But I was spending the entire year creeping closer to the big 3-0. Ooh. And something about 30 just was like plaguing my mind. I was like, okay, let's really think about why I feel that way. Am I
Yeah.
unfulfilled in work?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Am I
Yes.
unfulfilled in my personal life? Am I like where am I unfulfilled?
Yeah.
I kind of figured out that I feel like I've lost my purpose.
Okay.
And then I started having the question like, do I need to have a purpose? Did I spend like high school and college having a purpose because of my anxiety?
Yeah.
And I'm doing all of this without a therapist because
Just
I can't find one that's in my health insurance network. So I'm just trying to use the tools that my old therapist gave me. And it was just a lot to be thinking about constantly. Like
yes.
I was it felt like I spent the whole year just sort of like making it through each day, each month,
Yeah.
like on to the next, on to the next. Like, how can we just get to the next stopping point?
Yeah.
But it also made me think about like I clearly wasn't happy with a lot of things and like what did I need to change? What did I want to change? And I had a lot of time to think about it. That's for sure.
Yep. I
And this, my brain, mush.
Yep.
Scary place.
Scary place to be, especially in those tough big thoughts. You're like, I don't want to, but you have to.
I genuinely don't know if I let myself spend more than 20 minutes a day with my own thoughts, you
It's
know?
yeah.
Because it would just go like
Mhm.
wild spirals.
And you're like, actually, I think I'd rather just not and never
Yeah.
deal with it.
Yeah. And part of that was like I had applied to a bunch of jobs to try and get out of theater and see what hit, and I got rejected from a lot of jobs during
Stupid.
the interview process, which happens, but it was disheartening, you know.
Yes.
Rejection is never enjoyable.
No.
Um, but especially when, you know, you think you figure out a path and you're like trying to make moves to move down that path, and then you have people saying, "No,
Actually, wait.
you are unwanted."
Or it's just
That
not the right.
crushing.
It just and you are wanted, and those people were stupid and made stupid choices.
I know. But then we cycle back to the conversation of like I centered my career and my life so much
Yeah.
that it really felt like my career was who I was. And so if I was moving on to a new career,
Who am I now?
who am I now? And also I still have those feelings attached. So when people tell me that I'm not good enough, it's like, whoa.
You're like, I have to dismantle a lot of this.
That's a lot. That's a lot to unpack. And we're still working through it. We're still working through it, but we're in a better place now, for sure.
Woo, woo,
Whoop.
woo,
And
woo.
now we're on to the glows,
Thank God.
the highlights, the highest of highlights.
Thank God.
So going back to that little bullet from The Grows, my Irish music, I grew up playing Irish music, for anybody that doesn't know. I've been playing Irish music for, oh, I can't do the math right now, over 20 years.
A gajillion.
A lot of years. And I was in a band when I was in high school. And I had like my Irish music friends, like they were just a group of people that I became friends with through Irish music. And in college, I stopped playing, and then it was after my grandma passed, actually, I started playing again, and I started finding myself in the Irish music scene in New York. There are these sessions that I go to a couple times a month, and I was having so much fun, like doing it recreationally and finding a love for it again and not attaching again, like weight to it, like just doing it for the
Oh,
enjoyment of it.
yeah.
But then what came out of that was a reconnection with some of my old friends, and we got the opportunity to give a concert, which was like
Yes.
one of my big highlights for the year was we put together the concert program beginning to end, and I got to MC it, and it was so much fun. Like when I think about that time in my life when I was doing a lot of Irish music, it's something I look back on and I love so much. Like I forgot
Yeah.
how much I love that aspect of performing because I've been behind the scenes for so long, that it was kind of nice to be like, oh yeah, I do actually like being perceived sometimes. And through that, I've like rekindled these friendships, and now one of them, it's a group of three of us. One of them is getting married this summer, and she's asked us to play her down the aisle at her wedding, and it's
So
just
sweet.
been so like lovely doesn't even feel like a weighted enough word. Like glow,
Yeah.
it's been a glow. Like it
It's
has
glowing.
added so much to my life, and I love it. I haven't been playing as much as I want to recently, but we'll figure it out.
That's okay. You'll come back to it.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
yeah,
will.
yeah.
You will, you will. Okay. My first glow is graduating university. Graduating university with two
Woo.
bachelor degrees. And they
Man,
sit on my desk in a little bag.
mine's at my parents' house
Hey, is
still.
yours hung up at least?
No,
Okay, safe.
it's in an envelope.
I was like, mine is, yeah, my degrees. Uh, I think my high school one's actually on my bookshelf. Oh no, my degrees are here. Hold on. Oh wait, you'll see my pajama pants. Everyone, close your eyes. Dun, 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 dun. These are my two bachelor's degrees, which is crazy. Um, I graduated with a BFA in dramatic arts with great distinction, and my bachelor of education with great distinction, which is like the highest honor, graduating with a GPA of 3.96
Hell yeah.
out of a 4.0, which is pretty freaking good. Um, and it's like a huge accomplishment for me because when I graduated high school, I was in such a bad place mentally and was like, I don't ever want to go back to school. I want to pursue acting. I don't want to do anything academic, even though acting is academic, but I wanted a change. I was like, I need to move across the country. I need to be away, need to figure out who I am and what I love. And moving back to Calgary and then deciding to go back to school and moving away again, um, did feel like that starting over again. But I'm so proud that I could do it. So a big part of me was in my 12th grade year, I was really depressed. My family was going through a really bad divorce. Things were not going well for me. So I was resigned to the fact that I was not a smart person, that I was like, could not, uh, was not made to do more. Not that acting isn't more. And I don't want anyone to be like, oh, you chose this because you didn't think whatever. I just needed to pursue something that I knew I was already good at. I knew I was good at this. I knew I could be successful at it. Um, I knew it was going to be a little inconsistent, and that's eventually what drew me away from doing it full time as an actor because of the inconsistencies. But to go back to university and get 2 bachelor's degrees and prove to myself that I can do it, in a family of people where my sisters and I are the only people in our family who have bachelor's degrees. We're the only ones who, I mean, not my cousins, some of my cousins now do, but like my mom doesn't have one. Um, so we're the first in our family line to get them. Feels really special and feels like something I kind of hang my hat off of, even though I'm going to be paying off my student loans for the rest of my life. Um, I'm really proud. I'm
Heavy
really
sigh.
proud of what I did and being able to have my mom and my sisters come down and see me graduate and cheer for me. And yeah, just also getting through COVID and doing it was really tough.
Big.
Just like, and through like my own mental health journey and like how like getting diagnosed with depression and with OCD and with PTSD while in this degree, being like, okay, how do I juggle all of this and still have a passion for teaching in the end? I'm just really happy. I'm really happy that I did it. I'm really proud of myself that I did it. Um, and I'm so proud that I should hang these up.
Yeah.
They shouldn't sit in a little folder on my shelf. I should do something about them. And then sometimes back here are my like distinction cords.
Mm.
Sometimes I let my cats play with them, which I should probably do something else with. Uh, but yeah, and I mean it's crazy because the podcast is kind of like chronicled that journey
Yeah.
for me, right? Like 5 years was basically my full degree,
Yeah.
minus like the first year. Um, so y'all been along on the ride with me, which is
Hmm.
crazy, crazy,
I know. Wild. Like
crazy.
it's crazy when we started, we were both in school.
Both in school, both so young, fresh faced,
So naive.
so naive. Seriously though, but yeah, that's one of my goals is graduating university.
Woo. My next one is really silly.
Oh,
But when I think about last year, this stands out as one of my favorite things I did. I went to a day of the US Open, which is the tennis tournament in New
yes,
York.
yes,
And specifically, I went to the Fan Access week, which is basically the week before the actual Open opens. They
yeah,
like soft launch everything. So they let people in to watch the practices for free,
yeah,
but they need time to like, figure out how they're going to get people in and how the vendors are going to work and give
yeah,
everybody a chance to like have a crowd there. And I went with my friend Sam,
yeah.
and it was like on a whim that she texted or messaged into this group chat and was like, "Does anybody want to go?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do actually."
Put me in, coach.
And we had such a blast. I got to see Naomi Osaka play tennis.
Cool, so
And
cool.
because it's like it's free, general admission, you just get to pick whatever seat you want. We were like at the court
That is so sick.
watching her play. And I was like, even though it was just a practice, still, I was like, what is happening?"
That is so sick.
I caught a glimpse of Coco Gauff, who I love. Um, and we watched a couple of other people, and it was the two of us had a blast. It was so
Yes.
much fun. I want to go again. I want to go to an actual like open match this year, hopefully. And it also kind of got me into this like dabbling in sports.
Yes, look
Like
at you go.
very loosely paying attention. Like I'll go to a game, I'm going to an F1 brunch on
So fun.
Sunday. I'm so excited. I've and like I've kind of kept up with it, but mostly I've watched like Drive to Survive. So like I know who's on the teams and I follow a bunch of like F1 accounts on Instagram, so I'm like kind of keeping up with what's happening this season, but
Yeah,
it's very like I have a toe into a handful of sports and I'm just kind of like it's a fun social thing.
so fun. Look at
So
you. 30, the year of trying new things.
no, for real. For real. And if 30-year-old Deirdre had told 15-year-old Deirdre that she would be like silly, goofy with sports, she would have laughed in my face.
Well, suck it, 15-year-old Deirdre. Look at
I know.
30-year-old Deirdre flourish.
I know. My goal this summer is to go to a baseball game.
Fun.
I hate baseball. I've been to baseball games before,
Sure.
but I feel like if I go with one or two friends and we get some hot dogs, and I will say I hated watching baseball when my dad would put it on the TV.
Sure.
When we would go to the games, I would have a much more enjoyable time.
Yeah.
So that is another aspect of it is like if I'm going to an event to participate in,
Yes.
I'm usually more engaged than like if it's just
If it's on
on
the TV, it's not. I don't
in
think
my living room, right? Um,
I'll be reading a book, so it's not like I'm actually
exactly.
paying attention.
So I'd really like to go to a baseball game this summer along with the US Open.
My second out of three is short, so I'm going to keep it short. Um, in my last semester of university during that final practicum, all of the intern teachers, which was me, had to prepare a personal inquiry project, a professional inquiry project, where you basically were like, this is something I learned or something I'm interested in to do research for, and then like do a mini thesis presentation of like, this is what I learned basically. So I did mine on inclusion. Shocking. Being someone who loves inclusive education. So I did a presentation. I made my little slideshow. I I was gonna say performed it. I performed my presentation. I presented my presentation at my university's PIP, Personal Inquiry Project, Professional Inquiry Project Symposium, where everyone had to do one, but you could choose to present. And I was like, put me in, coach. If it's one thing I've learned from my BFA, I love me an audience. So like, put me in. I can yab for days. So I did, and then I got put on the finalist list for the like top prize. Lost out to guy who did an AI project with ChatGPT, which was really cool, but like inclusion, man, I think is important. You're saying computers are more important than people. Okay.
A choice.
Interesting. No, his presentation was wonderful. Um, but I basically then got to present my presentation at it's called SWATCA, but it's the Southern Alberta Teachers Convention. So
Mm.
it's something that all teachers are mandated to, you are told every year you have to attend. So there's one for like Calgary, Edmonton, and Lethbridge. So like in North, Southern, and Central Alberta. So I got
Mm.
to present mine at the Southern Alberta one. So me and a couple classmates, I think it was three or four of us, got to present our little projects. I call it little. It was not. It was a big undertaking. Our thesis presentations things about it, and it was really cool and something I was really proud of. And it's crazy to be like, before I even graduated, I was able to present something
Yeah.
that I got to do that I found that I was passionate, and then also now it's like a beautiful like mantelpiece in a lot of my job interviews where I'm like, I know a thing or two about inclusion. I don't actually say it like that, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So that's something I was very proud about. I got a certificate. I just got a journal.
Look at you.
I know, that's pretty cool. Um, yeah, it's pretty lame, but I thought it was pretty cool.
Please. It's funny how a lot of ours mirror each other's because mine is also about research that I did. Um, I spent most of like the end of 2023 into the beginning of 2024 getting rejections for research presentations that I was doing, slash focusing on other stuff. And then I got accepted into three conferences and
Yes.
I got to present two of them last year and one of them was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I have like my fire lit under my ass again. Because the most recent conference I spoke at, I was asked if I do guest speaking, and I got asked to do some guest presentations at a school in Manhattan. And after one of my presentations, one of the students was like, "Are you gonna write a book?" And I was like, "Maybe.
Would you like buy my book if I wrote it?
I'm thinking about
I'd be
it."
so freaking sick, dude.
Um, so yeah, I've been continuing my research from my master's thesis and starting some new research avenues, and I'm getting ready to send some articles off to academic journals so that I can be published.
Yes.
And maybe I'll actually consider outlining a book proposal
That would be
because
so freaking
I
dope.
think I need to.
I think, hey, at this point, do it. Freaking do it,
Right.
dude.
Um, so yeah, it was a big year for the research and the conferencing and all of that, which was great. And now I'm already like, I have to think about all the upcoming abstracts I need to present for next year and what is my next research avenue going to be. Scary.
Exciting
It's so
though.
exciting. So
Yay.
exciting. Yay. I think the hard thing is I've spent the last 4 years
Yeah,
in the same research vein, and now I'm kind of ready to like keep going
of course.
privately
Yeah.
while because when you send stuff off to journals, you can't send it once you send one article,
Yeah.
it has to be the only one actively
Yeah.
out. So until I publish one and then can like cite myself in some of these other articles, um, I have to, which sounds so crazy. Um,
No, it's slay.
I it's exciting because I get to think about all the other research things that I've been putting on the back burner because I've been working on this huge project for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Also, I've been like funding it myself. And I'm like, okay, you actually need to try and like get funding, which is hilarious. What a hilarious statement to make in
No, what a cool statement.
May 2025 in the United States.
Okay,
Um,
yeah. In that context, yes, but
you know,
cool.
um,
Cool.
so yeah. And then my last one is very short, but I turned 30.
Uh,
I'm
yeah.
enjoying 30. I feel very free in 30. So many people told me that they liked their 30s a lot, and so I'm really trying to embrace 30.
Yeah.
It's like I was saying, it's very daunting, especially because I mean, a lot of people go through this. All my friends are in different stages.
Yeah.
I'm starting over. Some of my friends are starting families. Some of my friends are corporate climbing.
Yeah.
Other friends are really excelling in the arts.
Other
And
friends are divorced and you're like, you're also starting over.
yes. Um, and so it's it's just it feels like a odd place to be when you're the person starting over. But then I'm like, maybe other people feel that way at the spot they're in,
Absolutely.
you
Everyone
know?
else.
So I'm
Yeah.
I'm embracing 30.
Amazing. Um, my last bonus, I also turned 30. We both turned 30.
Woo!
Woo! We have an episode coming out this season that we talk about being 30. Every time I say 30, I just think of the Bo Burnham song that I'm turning 30. Have you from his Inside?
No.
Have you seen Inside?
No.
He's like,
I didn't watch the whole thing.
you gotta watch it. It's
I'm sorry.
you'll have to watch it. It's so freaking good.
Okay, I will. I'm sorry I haven't watched it yet.
I forgive you.
I was going through a lot when it came out. and emotionally I couldn't do it.
I understand. I get it. But you gotta watch it. Um, no, it's not. That's not a good one to watch when you're not okay. But if you're okay-ish now, you can watch it. Um, but I also turned 30.
The
Asterisk.
song I think of is the one from Tick Tick Boom.
Oh, the 30.
3090.
Yeah.
That one.
Don't panic. Don't jump ship. Can't fight it like City Hall. Yeah. Um.
That one.
Uh. What a great movie.
I know.
Really, really good movie. Um. Also turned 30. Exciting to be starting my career at 30, which is my final grow. And by grow, I do mean glow. Um. I am a teaching little teacher guy. I started subbing in January of 2024. That's not true. What year is it? 2025?
2025.
No, that is true then.
I know.
What year is it? Where am I?
Where am I?
I started subbing in January 2024 in Lethbridge. I subbed for about 6 months. I did pick up during that 6 months uh, a temporary contract in a grade 2 classroom for about 3 months, which was pretty cool. It landed on a pretty sour note, which sucked. Basically, if you're on a temporary contract, you're covering someone's leave. So it could be a maternity leave, someone's off having a baby, or it can be a leave of absence. So I was covering a leave of absence, and my leave was only supposed to be 2 weeks, and it kept getting pushed by 2 weeks. And then I was told, "Oh, we'll have you until the end of the year." And then the teacher came back, so I had to leave the class without saying goodbye, which really sucked. Because I was like, it's also like that was like my first teaching gig,
Right.
so I was like, these are my children. Now
Yeah.
I'm okay. You're okay. Flipped. Those kids are in perfectly good hands. You're
Yeah.
totally fine. But that sucked, and so moving back to Calgary, I was like, okay, I don't want to do any more temporary. I had been offered a couple temporary contracts in different kindergarten classes. I guess there's something about me that screams kindergarten energy. Don't know what that's about. But I was like, I will not do another contract where I am told a week in advance of like I have to wait every 2 weeks to know if I have a job.
Right.
That sucked, and it really was not a healthy way to be in a job, because how can you plan if you're like, I don't know if I'm going to be here in 2 weeks. And it was also the end of the year, which is like the hardest time for a lot of stuff. I learned a lot, and the team there was awesome. The school was great. It just was a bad situation for that. But I started subbing with the Calgary Board event, like the public education board in Calgary. And I started picking up shifts in inclusive ed classrooms, specifically in EES classrooms, which is enhanced educational supports, which basically is a segregated, specialized classroom, inclusive classroom where you teach everything for the students, your little cohort of kids. And I was like, oh, these are my people. These are my people. I picked up a job in a school on a Tuesday in November and was like, TTT, hello, so excited to be here. And by the end of the day, the principal had come in to see me teach. And then the next day I got a call and was like, would you like to come cover a leave at the school in this classroom? Can we interview you for this position? Would you be interested? And I was like, here's my resume and my headshot. Just kidding. My resume has my headshot on it, which I think is maybe a controversial thing, but I do have a photo of myself on my resume.
I only did it when I was applying for makeup artistry jobs.
No, I do it for all my teaching jobs. I'm like, look at me smiling. I think that's the theater in me. Maybe now I'm thinking people know that. I'm gonna still do it. I like it. I think it puts me apart. I also think it's funny to have a
Your
photo.
res here's the thing. What I learned in my resume class in undergrad,
Oh,
your
tell me.
resume is an extension of you. So if you feel like the best representation of you on paper is having your headshot on there.
And it's not a head. Let me be clear. It's not a headshot. It's just a photo of me in my like teacher persona. Uh where it's like me smiling, looking friendly. This is a picture of me, so you know what I look like. Um,
Don't I look so friendly? Like I could teach little children.
yes, I don't have face tattoos. You can hire me confidently. Um, but
Not that people with face
and
tattoos are
that's
not
I feel like I'm putting
capable.
my foot in my mouth so much this episode. I'm not saying that you couldn't teach. You are great teachers. I'm saying for me, I would look crazy with face tattoos because my face is always red, so it would look like my tattoos are burning. Um, Jesus.
Wow. Okay.
Anyway, so I interviewed for the job. Next day, I got a call being like, "Would you like to come and do this temporary contract?" And I was like, temporary. But I was like, you know what? I love the class. I love the kids. I love the vibe. Love the school. I'll give it a shot. For you, sure. Uh, and I feel like I came in with such a positive energy and positive attitude. And that's something that a lot of my uh, peers and coworkers are like, you're so positive. You're so happy all the time. And I'm like, I'm just happy to have a job that I like doing. I am so thrilled to be alive. I am so grateful to be alive. I am so happy that I get to be doing something that I feel passionate about
Hmm.
and like doing. And I get to impact people's lives and they get to impact my life.
Hmm.
That's sick as hell.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. And I haven't, I know like it sucks the format of the episode. You had to hear about the bad. I do not get hurt every day. I don't think. I probably do, but that's okay because I'm clumsy anyway. Um, but this job, so basically, I was put in the position in December and I'm in the job until the end of June. So 7 beautiful months in this contract with these kids in this team. I have 3 wonderful EAs in my classroom who I've gotten to know and love. I have 9 wonderful students who are just like the apples of my eye. I love them all. They've grown so much. Um, and I've gotten to like practice and flex my skills as an educator, but also get to bring in parts of me as my like acting Danielle and my directing Danielle and like my so many facets of myself get to be brought to this job. That's why I love it so much.
Mhm.
And crazily enough, in my first year of teaching, I had a student teacher, which is crazy because I was like, "Hey, girl, I just graduated too." Basically, the student teacher was signed on before I was brought into the position, and the university was like, "Yeah, if you're down to do it, cool." And I was like, "Great." So I got to do the process that I had just gone through as a student with a student, which
Right.
was crazy.
Yay.
That's that.
That's that. We made it through the bulk of the episode, I would say.
Yes.
Because the rest is more fun stuff.
Yeah, we'll stop crying, I promise.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about I promise Deirdre will stop crying. I'm not sure.
Um, what?
I said, I promise Deirdre has stopped crying. I don't know about me.
I have stopped crying. Um, really trying to regulate my emotions over here. Uh,
Same. Do some bubble breathing. Do some like blow with the hot chocolate.
oh, I don't know that one. I just do my raspberries.
Raspberries are good. Raspberries are good.
Okay, so I have put together a list of just like to get you on board with where we're at after this year in the realm of everything else. Because we talked about the life stuff, but now let's talk about all the stuff in between. So, what were some of your favorite pop culture moments from the last year?
Honestly, I feel like so many of the pulp culture moments. I want to hear yours first. I want to hear yours
Okay.
because the only one that I can think about was one from years ago, and I was like, Danielle, you can't talk about IKEA monkey. Sorry, you
I
go.
did have an animal related one on
Okay,
here.
go ahead.
Mudang.
I hate Mudang. I hate him.
Okay, relax.
No, don't calm me down.
So specifically, more than like the actual hippo Mudang, this girl on TikTok started making the Knights of the Rotund Table, where
Yeah, 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 yeah.
she was finding because after Mudang kind of blew up, all these
Yes.
other little baby animals at zoos around the world also started gaining some traction.
Yeah.
So she put together, she like had this whole cute animation where basically like Mudang was Arthur and we needed to fill out the round table. So she had a Google Doc where you could go and vote on the new knight. But
Yeah.
then she also made all these offshoots. So there was like Merlin, there was this little like cat like sorcerer offshoot and Morgan Le Fay and like all of these other animals fitting in. And it was such, I think she still might be doing it. It was such a joy to log on to TikTok every day and be like, okay, did my pick make it into the rotund table
You're like,
today?
I freaking
Or do I
hope
have to wait a
so.
couple more days? Because I know they're eventually gonna get in. Um, and yeah, so like it was more so this like very specific offshoot of Mudang, um, that really got me. Really got me.
You saying that is reminding me of a TikTok couple, and I'm trying to find their freaking it's a couple and they do complaints to HR. Have you seen this couple?
I love them.
That is a pop culture. I'm like complaint. I'm trying to find their complaints.
They have the HR bonnet
Bonnet. Yeah.
patch.
I recently saw something
Um,
today where they lost the bonnet, and I was like, I'm devastated.
no.
Okay.
Um,
Uh, Nadia and Blessed is their account. It's just this beautiful couple who will be like, I need to talk to HR. And then they switch to the HR bonnet and they'll bring up like a complaint in their relationship.
but they talk in like medieval speak.
In medieval corporate speak, it is so funny. Um, there was one today that I saw that was the male in the couple was like, I want to not have uh like cuddle times. And the girl was like, during our peak cuddle time, are you to say because it is you're watching like sports, or like it was because there's like his team is going on in basketball or some blah, 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 blah. I don't know. But it makes me laugh so hard. And I tee hee 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 hee. I love that is my pop culture moment is couples who are funny.
Yeah, I love them. They haven't been on my For You page in a while, so I hope my phone is listening because I would
Yeah,
like to
put
see
them
their
on.
videos again. Um, I put the Olympics in here as like the Olympics kinda because I
But
kind
not
of
gonna
followed the
cry.
Olympics. I don't think I was as into it as I have been in past years, but I definitely was like texting my friends like, "Hey, gymnastics is today. Wake
Yeah,
up."
yeah. Look alive, people.
You know. Um, I kept my Peacock subscription so that I could have access. At one point, they had the like six screen view where you could have a view of like six events that were
Are you
having.
serious?
Yes, so I would put that on my TV and then I'd kind of see like which one looked the most interesting and then I'd go watch that one.
I would quite literally vomit, I think. Like if I had that much stimulation, I'd throw up. Um Another pop culture moment. This isn't really pop culture, but it doesn't really fit into anything else. I got really into Stardew Valley.
Love.
But specifically I've really gotten into modding Stardew Valley. So when
Mm.
I started my new job, I got a work laptop, which means my laptop has space for me to download stuff now. So I can play Stardew Valley on my laptop, which means I can mod on my laptop, which is crazy because it's like a 2019 MacBook Air. Like you should not be gaming on like it sounds crazy when I game on it. That and then I I have a 2013 Mac iMac that I bought from a school that I worked at for like $200 because they
Nice.
were switching to PCs. But it has a heck of a lot of storage, so I can
Mm.
play Sims 4 on my desktop. And because I have heck storage, I can download a lot of CC. And now CC, for those of you who do not speak computer, is custom content. So people will go usually on Patreon and they will build like custom outfits, custom furniture, custom everything, and they will just put it up for you to download for free to play in the game. So my girls are hot in The Sims. They have the cutest fits. They are rocking and rolling. Um, but my favorite thing in The Sims, which is part of my favorite pop culture moment,
Hmm.
sim influencers, specifically Connie and Karen. Do you know Connie and
Okay.
Karen? They're
I'm
two,
not in the Sims world.
and I was neither. I like playing Sims for the first time in my life at 30.
As you should.
And let me tell you, I'm not actually playing Sims. I'm just going to different places and designing houses. Like
I
that's
love
that's
that.
what I like to do. I don't like to actually play the game. I find it quite stressful. Watching someone give birth to a child and having to raise that child myself, too
A
stressful
lot. It's a
for me
lot.
right now. Um, but Connie and Karen, they're these two twins who live in New York City, so maybe you'll meet them at some point. Um, but they basically do these challenges where they're like, we're gonna build this house in The Sims and we're gonna do blah 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 blah. But they stream on Twitch and then they put their videos up on YouTube, and I fell in love with them. And it is the craziest thing because I always liked watching like people play video games, but watching people do Stardew Valley and do Sims feels like the best version of all of these video games that I was watching people play because I would mostly watch horror ones, but I was really spooked by it. Um, but oh, it's so good. You gotta get it. You guys gotta get into it. You gotta get into it. I will FaceTime my friends from Lethbridge and we will play Sims together. My friend Achilles is doing it's called a decades challenge, but you start in the 1300s and you like roll d20s of like death rate of like, okay, when your kid levels up, if you roll a this, they die because the death rate in this time, or like now you're going into a plague year, this is the death rate now, and like you try to keep this family line alive from the 1300s to modern day, which is crazy. So we're having a lot
That's
of fun.
so fun.
See, I can't play that, but I want to hear you talk about it because
Right.
I'm gonna sit here making my little house with my little plants and my little clutter.
Sure.
You're gonna do the crazy stuff, and I'm gonna laugh. So anyway, that's my last pop culture moment.
I love that.
Sims 4, which came out 10 years ago.
So what?
And I can't.
Um, my other two are very demure. I'm obsessed.
Oh, I totally forgot.
I'm obsessed with Jules. And my last one is just Wicked. Just Wicked. Specifically, Ariana and Cynthia performing at the Met Ball, the Met Gala last year. Because we got so few videos of it because they're not really supposed to film in there. But the Met was posting it and Vogue was posting it.
Okay.
And every image of them performing, I have watched a million times.
It
And I
like
met Cynthia, which was crazy.
when
She came to see Hills of California the
I
week Wicked
totally
came out.
you absolutely did tell me that.
It was like 3 days after I saw Wicked in theaters, and then she was in front of me, and I was like, "This is crazy.
like hello.
You're real."
You're
And
very
she's so short.
and probably so very nice.
She was nice.
Probably so very nice. Okay, favorite TV shows. What have you watched in the past
Okay,
year?
number one, Traders.
Oh, you a trader girl. I didn't know that.
Number one. I could talk about Traders all day long.
I never.
I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
I just watched the first season of the UK one with my roommate, which was a lot of fun because
Yeah.
it's very different. It's structured very differently. Like
Huh.
the basics are the same, but the way the hosts interact, the things that are shown, and the way the producing is done is very different from the US one. And it's all normal people on the UK. There's no celebrities.
Oh, okay.
So it was really fascinating to also watch like that dynamic as opposed to
Yeah.
people that know each other. And season one of The Traitors US, for anybody that doesn't know, is actually half reality TV show people and half normal people,
Crazy.
which was wild. That was wild season. So I love Traitors. I finally watched Downton Abbey. I've
Okay.
only seen 3 seasons though. I stopped after season 3 and took a break, so I do need to finish and then watch the movies. Um, I'm a big Love Island girl. I love me Love Island. Specifically, the one that came out last year that I was obsessed with was Love Island Games.
Okay.
I love a competition show, and I love a competition show that has games, which is why I like Traders so much.
Yes.
And Love Island Games was like, yes, they're going to Love Island to fall in love, but every day they had a challenge.
Yeah.
And so there were a couple people that found really good partners to do the challenges with because they would win. They weren't necessarily falling in love with each other. And I liked that. I
Yeah.
liked that we got a little bit of both and people could be silly, goofy because it was a little bit more game minded.
Yeah.
Very fun. And then my last one, well, I have two more. I watched Rivals like at the beginning of this year. And if you have not watched this show,
I don't think I've even heard of it.
oh, it's on for us, it's on Hulu and Disney Plus.
Okay. I'll
It
check.
has David Tennant and it's about this it takes place in the 70s.
Yeah.
It's about this guy that is a like a journalist TV personality and he decides to go from his big TV job to a smaller network that's more in the countryside and he is working for David Tennant's production company. His neighbor, so the guy that's on the TV,
Yeah.
is rivals with David Tennant.
Crazy.
And all these people have so much money. They have all these like sordid affairs and um things are happening in the office and out of the office and like all this like sultry stuff
Yeah.
on top of what's happening at the network. And there's like maybe people are going to start poaching people to work for a different network, but they're all neighbors. They all live like within town limits of each other.
Yeah.
And it takes place in England, so it's these beautiful mansions and like grounds. And it's in the 70s, so the clothes are really cool.
Yeah.
The acting's amazing. Like it's such a compelling storyline. And they are filming season 2 right now. I think it's coming out at the end of the year, and I'm so freaking excited. Um, it does have quite a bit of like sexual content in it, so I wouldn't watch it with my parents personally.
Okay. Good
Because
warning.
it starts off the bat with that. Like you
Nice.
know that that is a huge element of the show
Gotcha.
when you turn it on. And then the last show, which I just finished season 4 of, I think, was Hacks,
Okay.
with Gene Smart. It is such a good show. So funny. I was watching season 1 or season 2, and I was so in it that I would bring my laptop into the bathroom and have it on while I was showering. And
Love.
there was one day where apparently I was laughing out loud in the shower and my roommate could hear me. And she was like, "What are you watching?" She was like, "You don't, it takes a lot for me to laugh out loud at a TV show or a movie. I'm not
Yeah.
like a giggler or engager."
Okay. Sure. Sure.
This
Sure.
show had me laughing.
So
I
fun.
found it so entertaining. So those are all my TV shows.
Okay. Amazing.
What about you?
Um, Love on the Spectrum, season 2 and
Mm,
season 3. You know I love. Season 3 was iconic. If you've not watched it, season 1 is totally very different from season 2 and season 3.
mm.
Uh, Season 3 is a slam dunk. It is so freaking good. I love it. I find that there's less infantilization of the people the further you get in the series. So season 3 has been the best so far. Um, Watch that. Really, this is a relatively new one. But The Pit, have you watched The Pit yet?
I haven't watched The Pit yet.
Oh my god, it is
I know.
because the girls know I love Grey's Anatomy. The girls know I love a medical drama. The Pit is phenomenal. It is so good. And it basically the premise is that it's an emergency room in Pittsburgh over the course of 12-ish hours.
Wow.
So every episode's an hour.
Okay.
And within that shift, you see
Mhm.
so many things. There's a big disaster emergency response that they have to take care of, but then there's also like sickle cell patients. Like it's very diverse and very cool, and the acting is really phenomenal. It's really, really good. Bryan Cranston's daughter's in it, and she's hilarious.
Mm.
There's a lot of and a girl who played Eurydice in Hadestown, which I didn't realize she did. I saw a clip of her and I was like, hey, that's the girl from The Pit. Uh,
Yeah.
she's in it, and I was like, not Eva, obviously, but
Right.
somebody who covered whatever, somebody who came in subsequent productions of it. So The
Cool.
Pit, Love on the Spectrum, and then oh, I had it on the tip of my tongue. Oh, The Bear.
Love. I love The Bear. You saw we're getting our next season in a couple
We
weeks.
are. I loved The Bear. I still love it. I think so it's tee fun, but it's also like gritty. It's great.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone knows The Bear is good. So at this point, I'm like, there's no point in me being like, if
Right.
you haven't, but if you haven't,
But if you haven't,
watch it. It's really, really great.
that was one where over the course of a weekend, enough people talked about it that I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it.
Like, fine, I'll do it.
And I think that's what's gonna happen with The Pit also.
It's, those two, like Love on the Spectrum, each episode, like you can kind of watch one and you can go and come back and watch. Like you don't have to binge them. The Pit you want to binge
Right.
because of the way it's set up, and The Bear you also want to binge.
I
It's
agree.
very easily bingeable. Both of those I kind of watched.
I did not find season 3 to be particularly bingeable.
That's fair. I binge them because I just like looking at Jeremy Allen. But it's true. The first season is very bingeable. The
Yes.
second season, I feel
I
like
would say season 2 also. The pace
because
is
they're working
fast.
towards this thing, and
Yeah.
then season three, there's more drama, but it's great still. I'm
Yeah.
really excited for season four to see how the story continues.
I felt like season 3 felt like a filler season. Like once the show eventually wraps, right?
Yeah,
When that day comes,
sure.
when you go back and watch the show in order,
Yeah.
season 3 on its own doesn't necessarily feel fulfilling,
No.
but I think in the context of
Yes.
the show, it's gonna make sense.
Totally.
And it sucks, like,
The
because
stakes.
that's just the nature of TV. But
It's a transitional season where they're like, we're trying to open up more of the story. We're giving you a lot of exposition. This is blah, 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 blah.
and in a world of TV where we don't get a lot of that, we don't get filler episodes anymore.
Yeah.
I'm often like, give me 1 or 2 episodes where you can just build these characters for a second and build this world for a second. It's kind of refreshing to have a season like that
Yes.
where in hindsight I can be like, you know what? Thank you.
Mhm. Agreed. 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 Okay. Fave movies. Rapid fire.
I have two, Challengers
Yeah.
and Wicked.
I have two. Heretic and Wicked.
Nice.
Okay. Fave books from the
Fave
last year.
books.
How many
Um,
books did you read? Did you reach your reading goal?
did I reach my rating goal? That's a great
I know
question.
I did not reach mine.
I don't even remember what my reading goal was. Um, 2024, I voila. I read 100 books.
Yes.
16 of those were 5-star reads.
Nice.
I will rapid fire them really quick. I wrote down my top 5, but I figured I will just give you my all my 5-star reads from 2024 were That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly
Yes.
Lemming, loved. Son of the Storm, loved. Sword Heart, which was a reread. I've started rereading it every year. I am obsessed. I think about
Yes.
it all the time. Someone You Can Build a Nest In, a horror romantic comedy.
So fun.
Loved. Foundry Side, hated book two. So much that I will not finish the series. But book
Damn.
one was 5 stars.
Okay, Slay.
Devil in Winter, I am fully in my Lisa Kleypas era. I am a Kleypas fan. I love Kleypas so much,
Slay.
specifically Devil in Winter. I've reread that book so many times. Darkwater Daughter and Black Tide Sun by H.M. Long,
Yes.
love. Um, You May Now Kill the Bride, which was a like shocking find for the year. I don't think I've seen anybody else talk about it.
Yeah.
It's um a like bride squad, like bridesmaids and a bride,
Yeah.
and there's like a serial killer
Oh,
situation.
drama.
It and the twists and the turns, it's so fun. Um Belladonna, the
Yes.
that whole series, loved. Fate Breaker, the conclusion to the Realm Breaker series by Victoria Aveyard. God, that was good. The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas.
Okay, fun.
I'm obsessed with Isabel's writing. She writes gothic horror so, so well. Then we have The Spell Shop. I did a little cozy fantasy, and I loved it so much. I have the second book, the arc of it, sitting on my shelf at my apartment, and I'm eagerly awaiting a moment to read it. Then we've got Fury of the Gods, the third book in John Gwynn's series. I
Yes.
sobbed my way through the end of it. Dollar Good Dream Department Store. If you are looking for a really cozy slash cozy adjacent, because there's a couple chapters that feel a little like, but like so transportive, imaginatively. Dollar Good Dream Department Store.
Okay, cool.
It's so the idea is that these people are working in a department store that sells dreams to people. And
That's
there's different floors that sell different types of dreams. And then as the book goes on, you start to meet the dream makers, the people that like make the dreams. They're kind of like video games. Um, it's
so cool.
it's so good. And the last one was actually a Christmas book,
Great. Great.
and it is The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Ally Carter.
Okay.
I loved it. You're never going to walk into an Ally Carter book looking for spice, unfortunately, because she does the thing I hate, where she builds the tension so, so, so much and then gives you a closed door. And that pisses me right off.
Yeah.
But that was a damn good book.
Oh yeah. Love that.
So that's my rapid fire
Amazing.
top books of 2024.
Okay, I read 90 books
Nice.
in 2024, which I did not meet my goal, which I think was honestly I think I probably put 200, but in my head was 100. Um I've learned this year my goal is 100, so we're actually going to try to make it 200. I read Charlotte's Web for the first time last year in my grade 2 class that I was in. I'd
Oh
never
my
read it before.
God.
It's freaking sad, you guys. Spoiler alert. If you've not read it, it's a sad ass book. Here are some of my top reads of 2024. I will do the same rapid fire. The Vancouver Storm series by Stephanie Archer, Behind the Net and the Fake Out, came out that year, which I recently talked about the third book in the series.
Mm.
It's great. It's great hockey romance. That's as close as I'm getting to sports girly. I then read. I got caught up on the Katie Robert Neon Gods
Mm.
series. So I read Midnight Ruin, Cruel Seduction, and then I think two more later in the year. We'll get to it. But I caught up on those two, Midnight Ruin and Cruel Seduction, back to back. Great. Fabulous. Every time she puts out a book, I'm going to read it. Then I read Bride, which was not a 5-star read, but it was something I read
Mhm.
by Ali Hazelwood. Then I read the volume 5 of Heartstopper, which was very sweet and
Oh,
like honestly
I'm so
very,
behind.
it's okay. There's like some, they're like basically in this book they're talking about like, are we gonna have sex? And I'm like, I love that there's this book for people this age to read that is like talking about things that are important.
Yeah.
So loved that. Um, reread the Lola and the Millionaire series. Loved that. Finally read Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. It was fine. Uh, oh yeah. Then read Dark Restraint, which is the most recent. I don't even know if that's true anymore. She puts them out too fast. Katie, slow down. Katie, slow down. Um, Dark Restraint, which is in the Neon Gods series. I read a lot of books last year. Honestly, a lot of them were Omegaverse books, and I don't want to talk about it. Um, and then I got into my Elsie Silver phase, so I read Wild Love and Wild Eyes, kind of to end the year with a now a tradition for myself that on every New Year's Eve I will read The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green. So that was my last 5-star read of 2024.
Love.
What, speaking of reading, what the heck are you reading right now, brother? Or do you want me to go first? Because I do have
No,
some.
I can go. I
Okay, go.
actually just finished two books.
Oh,
One was the other day and one was today, and I'll quickly talk about both of them. One I have right here. This is Along Came a Moor by Alexis Daria. This
okay.
will be out by the time the episode comes out. It comes out on May 27th. This is the third book in the Primus of Power series by Alexis. So everybody's been eagerly awaiting this book. I actually met Alexis a couple weeks ago at an event, and I'm so glad that my brain like could not catch up with the fact that I was talking to her amidst me reading this book. Because I probably would have fangirled in her face and it would have been really embarrassing for me. So I'm glad that that's not what happened. Um, in this series, it's three cousins are the female main characters, and they have this group chat called the Primus of Power because they have like a slightly dysfunctional family, or at least the way they operate in their families, and their love lives are all trash, basically. So we've been waiting for the third book, which is about Ava. She is 2 years out of, I think it's 2 years out of a divorce. And she ends up meeting this guy at a hotel bar. They have like a one night stand. But then it kind of turns into a like little fling, a little casual fling. And then she is at the like engagement party for her cousin, where she is the maid of honor. And turns out that this man she's been hooking up with for months is the best man. And she doesn't want her family to know. And it's this secret relationship. And he's caught feelings so early on. He's like ready to marry her early, early. Um, and it's just so wonderful. It's a little thick. That's like probably my only issue with it is that I feel like it could have been the size of the other ones. But I still read it. I still read every page and I liked it a lot. So that was fun. A really great start to like the summer romances for sure.
So fun.
And then the second one, I listened to The Dead Cattail Assassins, and I've
Ooh,
had this book kind of on my radar for a while. It's been sitting in my Libro library, and it's about this girl who is dead. And she gave her soul over to this goddess. Um, at some point when she was alive. She does not remember her life. Your memories are taken from you when you enter this like death bargain. And so upon the time of her death, the goddess collects in on her payment, which is you. And she is now an assassin for this goddess. So she basically works for a guild of other dead, undead assassins.
sick.
And there are a couple of rules that comes with that.
Sure.
One of the big rules is that if you get a contract, you have to fulfill it.
Uh-oh.
Cannot, and obviously like they're assassins, they're going to assassinate people.
Yeah.
So, the idea being you can't withhold a soul from the goddess.
Okay, okay.
On the like other hand of that is that you can't kill somebody that you're not contracted to kill.
That's crazy.
So our main character is sent out on a contract, very routine. She goes to do it. She comes across this young woman who is the Mark, and she gets a memory. And
Oh,
she's looking at what she thinks is her face. And so she sort of sleuths out that this girl has been taken out of time and somebody has contracted her to kill herself.
that's crazy. That's
And
it's
so,
giving Loki like the Loki series.
yeah.
That's what it's giving.
It vibe wise, it would be so cool as like a movie or a TV show.
Yeah.
It felt like not the plot, but the vibe of Sinners
Okay.
meets, and I cannot remember the name of the movie, but it's the one where um the guy has to fight like the seven ex-boyfriends.
Scott Pilgrim
That
versus the world. Yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah.
it was like the vibe of Sinners meets Scott Pilgrim
Love.
in this like dead people walking fantasy
That's
book.
crazy.
It was really cool. It did the thing that I don't like where I felt like it ended a chapter early,
Yeah.
but I still really liked it.
Okay, cool.
So that's what I've been reading in.
Fun.
What?
We're reading.
That's what I've been reading. What about you?
Okay. I would like to say for the record that after years of subtle hinting, I have started my first Hannah Witten book. I started reading The Foxglove King last weekend, and I'm loving it. Honest to God, I had to take a break from fantasy for a while because I was like, I can do sci-fi romance, I can do aliens. I can't do fantasy. Like it was just too much. I needed the light, fluffy romance.
Yeah.
But coming back to this like romanticy kind of vibe, it's really good. And I'm surprised not more people are talking about it because it is that good.
Thank you.
I'm like, this should be as popular as Throne of Glass, Sarah J. Maas. Like, she is that good of an author.
This
And
is what I'm saying. This is
and
what I've been saying.
so I feel like I'm sitting on a bad boy piece of information reading this book. And maybe you guys want to read them too, because maybe
Maybe.
there's something coming up this season that you would be interested in seeing or listening to on your favorite podcasting platform. Wink. So I am listening to that, or I'm reading right now. I hate that it has decollages. Sorry, Hannah. I hate that it has decollages.
I can't get into this with you right now because Zoran is also hating on deckled edges on
I
Instagram.
saw the
And
trend. It was like things propaganda. I'm not going to fall for it. And I saw Zoran's, and I was like, "Good for you, girl."
did you see my comment where that is currently still getting likes and comments where people agree with me to get off deckled edges back?
Deck, I the sensory nightmare that is deckled edges makes me want to commit arson.
I love them and don't take them away from me.
You can have them, but give me an option. Give me an option in the bookstore. Deckled, normal ass, fucking fine, good thing. Sorry for the F bomb. Um, so what I'm actually reading right now, you guys, it's that time of the year when Victoria Aveline puts out a new Cookanian series book.
Thank
And
God.
I'm reading it. I started it yesterday and it had like 4 likes on Goodreads, and I was like, she must have just dropped it. The girl must have just dropped it. It's called Bewitching Rago. Um, and it's like at this point, the lore of the series has gotten so crazy and big that I'm like, and I don't reread the books. I just read them when they come out, and I'm like, I don't
Me
know.
too. And I'm kind of like, I feel like I should reread the books.
I'm a little lost in the sauce right now. Like, thank God she does a little bit of like, and I think
A
she
recap.
knows. She knows. She's like, remember this person who did this, and I'm like, oh yes, I need
Thank
some.
you.
Thank you. But basically, it follows this man named Rhaego, who I guess was in a previous book. Again, that's none of my business. That's past Daniel's business. But he is a mercenary, basically, who is trying to get the humans who basically in a previous book it was revealed, spoiler kind of alert, but like it shouldn't be surprising that there was this bigger plan to kidnap these humans to take them off planet because they're a level 4 planet, means that the humans cannot return back to Earth because Earth doesn't know about all the other aliens
The
existing out there.
extraterrestrial life.
Yes, the Clickanians. The Clickanians.
The Clickanians.
But basically it comes out that maybe somebody working up in the higher government was a part of this, making kidnapping these women and giving them as like bribery to people to gain favor, whatever. It's like classic political intrigue pawn stuff, right? But Rhaego is like, I'm gonna help them. And I'm like, Rhaego, stop. And he basically is like, okay, I'm going to go to my home planet because they have this marriage ceremony. And you'll remember the Clickanian series is the series that the men have to go to like husbandry school. Like that was the first book, which I feel like we've gone so far from that I like,
I know.
Oh yeah, I
yeah,
remember
same series, folks.
Okay, yeah. So they basically have this running of the brides thing where they have all these brides lined up. They take their clothes, they cut them up into like smelling things, and the men they fight in this like semifinals thing where they have to like fight to see they're worthy to do this running of the bride. And so Rhaego's like, obviously I'm worthy, but I'm going in to get this human who was in a sleeping pod and his friend saw her and got his mating marks, and they've never actually met, so she doesn't know she has a mate, but he's coming in to get her out. So he starts the ceremony, he walks up, and we actually see the ceremony through the woman's eyes. Her name's Aurora, the main female main character, and she basically was awoken from her like hyperbaric chamber sleep to be told, you've been kidnapped, you are in this thing within like a couple 2 days.
I love a twist on Sleeping Beauty.
And that's the thing. And or Walt Disney's Frozen Head, one of the two.
Either or.
And they're the same thing. But Aurora's sitting in this chair. She's like losing her mind. She's so scared because all of these aliens look like demons. They like red hair with or red faces with horns. So they literally look like traditional demons. And she sees the meanest, biggest looking guy that comes up to her and he won't leave. And he takes a strip of her fabric, which you learn is like a tracking scent thing. They're like, okay, obviously. Hey, if you've read enough sci-fi fantasy, you get the vibe. You're like, I understand what this is going to be.
Yeah.
And in his perspective, we learned that Aurora is not the woman he was supposed to get. So there's 3 humans in this. So he has to choose, do I get the woman that is my promise, that I promised my friend and the leader of this mercenaries, dissenters thing? Or do I follow this woman who is making me crazy, who I think might be my mate? And that's like the first chapter. Like it's crazy.
She really does that so well.
She does. And like it's all about respect, it's all about consent. Like he's nothing but a gentleman, which is amazing, but it's also very brutal and bloody, which is fun. They're just like the perfect little romp books. They're so fun. Yeah. And yeah, I'm just excited. Every time a book of hers comes out, I'm like, yeah, it's an automatic read, which is crazy because I feel like, again, it's like this author where not a lot of people are talking, but I'm like, when I see her book is out on Kindle Unlimited, your girl's gonna drop everything and read it. So I'm loving it. It is silly, goofy, hee fun, and I'll probably finish it tonight. Like that's the pace I'm flying through it. Great. Is perfect.
I love it. And we have not finished this episode a moment too soon because one of my lights just died.
And I need to go to the bathroom, if I'm being honest.
Perfect. This was long. I don't think any of our other episodes will be this long, but we had a lot to catch up on because we haven't talked to you guys in a year, which is
It
crazy.
is
So
crazy.
if you are excited for season 5, we hope you are. We are. Please let us know. If you watched this whole thing or listen to this whole thing, you could leave us a comment on YouTube. You could leave us a comment on our Instagram page. And I think you should leave the
I don't know, man.
I've never looked at an emoji in my life.
I've not what an emoji?
I think you should leave the heart eyes emoji
Okay.
to let us know that you listened to this episode. It'll be our little secret, our secret language. While you are there, you can also follow us on Instagram at Books on the Brain Pod. You could follow us on YouTube. You could subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform
Yes.
and hit that notification bell. Leave us a review. Any and all of the things would be greatly appreciated. You can also follow us on our personal platforms. I am at Deirdre Rose Morgan on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Bindery.
I am DJ Books on TikTok and on Instagram.
And that is it for this episode. We will chat to you in the next one. Bye.
Let's have a great season.